We're live on Facebook, D Live, Rumble, and a couple of other places. And what I want to talk about very quickly here is that my last live broadcast on TikTok was cut off in the middle of the broadcast. They gave me this message stating that we don't allow conspiracy theories to be on TikTok. I, of course, was talking about the fake pandemic and all that other nonsense that goes along with it. So some of you had asked me a bunch of questions, and I'm just going to start off by answering the questions that I got by email or by TikTok or, like anywhere, messages and so on. It's always best, if you could, guys, instead of asking me questions in private chats on Instagram, on TikTok, and so on, just to go to my website, KevinJJohnston.me, and use the contact form, because that is something that I can access a lot quicker. We've got so many social media accounts, like 40 now at least, that I just simply can't get to them all. For those who are watching over here on Facebook, Rumble, and D Live, this is my cell phone. It's the only way you can go live on TikTok unless you download some weird TikTok software that is full of bugs. It didn't work when I downloaded it. So first question that I was asked is, what do I think about Australia reducing by half the number of flights that go in and out of Australia? Well, they say it's for climate change, to protect the country from climate change. Well, of course, that is not true, not in any way. It is to control how often people in Australia can leave the country and how many people can come in. It's a complete and total destruction of the Australian economy by the Australian government, I might add, and control of the Australian people who were put in concentration camps during COVID and decided to escape. And they burst the gates and they took off. So if Australians are not going to do what they're told by the government, then the government has to limit what Australians can do. And yes, constantly picking whatever, it is true. Australians were locked up during COVID, and they were locked up in very bizarre camps. And some people were actually able to sneak their phones in. And sometimes their families would go and throw their phones over top of the fence so that they could they could make videos from inside of these ridiculous camps that Australia had. So that is why flights in Australia are going to be cut down by half. Remember, everybody, the elites know global warming is not a thing. They know that man-made climate change is not a thing. Absolutely. Okay, panicky guy, you're out of here. Bye. Hold on. Yeah, see. Manage and block. Confirm. Sorry, everybody watching on Facebook, is that we do get a lot of nut jobs that show up on TikTok, and you know that as soon as they insult you 3 times in a row, they're looking for trouble. They're the kinds of people that report the live broadcast, and then TikTok will suspend the live broadcast. So the second that someone like that pipes up, regrettably, we have to get rid of them. And I don't want to get rid of people, but it's because all of the social media out there is run by left-wing nuts, majority of it anyway. If someone like me starts piping up, we get banned. Our live feeds get shut off and so on. So the second someone talks that way, we have to block them. Anyway, Australia will be cutting its flights to half specifically and only to control their people. That's it. This is something, what a lot of you need to do, actually what everybody needs to do, is grab Klaus Schwab's book, which is called The Fourth Industrial Revolution, where he states that they want to work, the World Economic Forum, along with the United Nations, wants to work incredibly hard to make sure that white populations around the world are reduced. Now, this is not my words. This is Klaus Schwab's words. He said that they want to have a much bigger population of Chinese and Laotian and Filipinos and so on, because white people don't do what they're told. Those are Klaus Schwab's words. So with that, you'll notice that New Zealand, Australia, and Canada were the most militant of all of the countries out there in reference to the COVID lockdowns, but also in reference to hate speech laws. Canada has Section 319 of the Criminal Code, which will imprison you for insulting somebody. And Australia and New Zealand have extremely similar codes. Why? They want to make sure that nobody out there gives really good ideas to other people. And that is what I did. In 2021, my podcast, the Kevin J. Johnston Show, was #1 in the country. Why? Because we simply told the truth. And I mean, we were entertaining. Obviously, we were entertaining. And bye-bye to DMX Tupac. Goodbye. Only 7 followers with no posts. You are someone who created an account specifically to insult me here. And I find that also bizarre, is how many people out there will create accounts specifically to insult me on a live feed. Find something better to do with your time. Japan has much stronger laws. They can even change with pre-crime. Not sure what that means, but Japan does have strong laws, and Japan's strongest laws are the ones that protect its own culture. There you go. What happened between you and Cody Kuntz? Well, this is a question hour. So Cody Kuntz was asking me all kinds of very bizarre questions about Chris Sky and Chris Sky's sex life. And I said, I don't know. I don't ask Chris about that. I'm 50. At the time I was 50. Chris Sky is, I think, 38 at the time. Why would I care what some guy 12 years younger than me is doing in bed? It's none of my business. I don't call other men and say, hey, like, dude, tell me, like, what are you doing in bed? Hey, you do that in grade school. You don't do that in your adult life. So I told Cody, I don't want to talk anymore about this stuff. And you should maybe call Chris and ask Chris directly. And that's when Cody Kuntz decided to get a bit upset with me that I wouldn't play his childish little game, and got together with that guy, Logan Murphy, who used to be on my campaign team, to come up with some bogus story that they couldn't prove. And when they said that I sent emails out, they couldn't even spell my name right. So think about that. If you're going to lie about someone, spell their name right. Do you think Pierre Poilievre would do better than Justin Trudeau? He's part of the establishment and lobbied. Yeah, well, of course he is. What will happen here, everybody, if Pierre Poilievre and the Conservative Party is able to take a victory in the next election, should Canada have one, we will get between 6 months and a year of peace. Like, we'll be left alone. All of us will. But he is a staunch member of the World Economic Forum. He certainly is into Agenda 2030, and he will do exactly what Justin Trudeau has done, but more politely and with bigger words. He is not in it for us, we the people. He's in it for himself and what he can be given. And believe me, he will be given lots once he becomes Prime Minister of the country. Okay, it's believed if you will commit the crime in question, they can throw you in prison. Okay, that's kind of true. That's in Japan. What Japan does is they let everybody out who they do not think that they would ever get a conviction on if it went to trial. They only push things to trial that they know for sure they will get a guaranteed conviction on. That's why they do so. But I'm pretty sure that Japan does arrest gang members and tries their best to interrogate. I'm sure of that. See what happens with any of that. Okay, now 329, communication statement in public that invites hatred against identifiable group. That's 319 in Canada. I don't know 329 if that's a different country. The idea of Section 319, subsections 1, 2, and 3 of the Canada Criminal Code has nothing to do with protection of people. It just has to do with finding powerful people in society, like myself, who has a really, really good podcast, and silencing us as quickly as they possibly can. And that's all that it is. And Section 319 of the Criminal Code of Canada was used against me in 2017 when I announced that I was going to run for mayor of the city of Mississauga, population 1.2 million. They thought that that would preclude me from running for mayor in the city because the mayor, Bonnie Crombie, I had crushed her in debate back in 2014. She did not want to debate me again, so she had the cops file a bogus charge against me. That's all that it was. And unfortunately, in order for Section 319 to actually be taken seriously by any court, the Attorney General of the province has to okay it. And the Attorney General of the province at the time was Yassir Naqvi, who is a radical far left and also radical Islamist who wants to see the destruction of Canada. No clue how that guy got to police the Canadian court system, but he did. And that's why our Canadians are idiots. We always let foreigners take over our institutions. Bad idea. Do you dream of a day where the United States absorbs Alberta? Oh, God, yes. I dream of a day, actually, with Donald Trump in office again, where he says he's had enough of Justin Trudeau, declares war on Canada, marches in his soldiers and tanks, and at that point just takes it over in a day without a single bullet being fired, because what would be the point of our military in Canada try to fight the US? Wouldn't work. Some of our pilots are really, really, really good fighter pilots, but we only have 36 F-18s. We don't have any Raptors to fight. We don't have gunships in this country. So, and the three military naval vessels that we have are all diesel powered. They're like 50 years out of date. So yeah, I dream of that. I would absolutely love to see the Star Spangled Banner flying over Alberta. 100%. Absolutely. By the way, everybody, please share this out there. I'm going to talk for another 30 to 35 minutes about answering your questions. We're on Facebook, Rumble, DLive, and on the phone over here, we are on TikTok. And to remind everyone, I had a TikTok live going a week ago that was cut off in the middle of the live because of TikTok's policy on conspiracy theorists. I do not do conspiracy theory. All right. For example, the world is not flat. All right. It's just not flat. The moon is not a hollow spaceship, and there is no ice wall 1,000 feet tall in Antarctica preventing the oceans from pouring into space. Come on. That's just foolishness. No, what I do is I research everything and I simply tell the truth about it. Now, here's one that came up because I got an email about income tax this morning. I had breakfast yesterday with a group of people, and one guy piped off at the gums saying that, did you know that Canada Revenue Agency, they could just walk in your house and take all your stuff if you owe them money? And I said, no, that's not true. Where'd you get that from? I was actually a little upset about it because everybody around the table said, really? They can do that? And I said, no, they can't do that. They're not police officers. They cannot acquire search warrants to go in your house and look for things that have intrinsic value so they can force you to sell it and pay your tax bill. It's just not how it works. So I explained, I forget what year it was, but it's at least a decade ago now. I had this guy, he had an Indian accent. He was horribly vulgar and crass in his delivery, and told me that if I did not report my taxes like he wanted me to, that he would make sure I got arrested. I said, oh yeah? What else? You're going to take my money too? He goes, oh yes, we'll seize your bank accounts. We don't take everything. Yeah. I said, okay, well, let's see what happens with that. Got his name, got his badge number, confirmed his identity on LinkedIn, because he actually had a LinkedIn profile. I called the police to have him charged. The police wouldn't do anything about it. He said, well, it's Revenue Canada. They're allowed to call you. They're actually not. They're actually not. So I went to the courthouse myself, and I filed what's called a private information. You can actually file criminal charges yourself in any courthouse in the country. So I charged this guy with harassment and extortion and intimidation. Intimidation's a big one. You can get 5 years for that one. And during the court hearing, I knew the Crown attorney would throw it out, but this guy was, oh, I'm so sorry. Right? Mr. Tough Guy on the phone was crying in the courthouse. So you have that right, everybody. I have zero respect for anybody that takes that job on. And you can throw all of that garbage at me all you want about, well, they're just doing their job. Give them a break. No. They took a job where they know that their job is to criminally harass people, lie to people, steal from people, and extort people. It's all extortion. It's a racket. So if you take that as your job, I don't give a crap what happens to you. In fact, let's do the Catholic prayer thing. Dear Lord, please have a bus hit everybody who works for Canada Revenue Agency right now. Okay? Oh, yeah, there we go. Amen. Boom. All right. I despise them. If you are going to make your job calling people that you don't know who are struggling to get by and then demanding money from them under threat of jail time, under threat of taking their home, under threat of taking their children, screw you, man. You deserve whatever you get. You get a baseball bat to the head, you deserve it. Honestly, you do. I'm not going to encourage violence because that's against the law, but I will say that when it happens, and it probably will, you will deserve it. Hey, what about when you do an oil change on your vehicle and you get oil? I heard you get cancer. Wow, that's a long one. I would not want to expose myself to anything that crude oil becomes. Black crude oil is fine. You can bathe in it and your skin will just light up and glow. But it's when they refine it into gasoline, into diesel, into other petroleum products. It's when it gets refined, that's when it becomes toxic. So I, for example, would not drink any refined product, but if you got some black oil directly out of the ground in your mouth, you're going to be fine. You can take black oil out of the ground before it gets refined, and you can fertilize your lawn or your garden or your food garden with that stuff. It's great. It really is. How would you tackle corporatism without state intervention? Well, the way that we're doing now with Dylan Mulvaney. That's how. Dylan Mulvaney made this big production about this stupid beer can, this Bud Light beer can, when he, a guy, is prancing around inside of a bathtub with fake nails, pretending to be feminine. Oh, so good. He does that, and masculine men around the world didn't like it. So what happened? Masculine men around the world said, we're going to boycott this crap. We're not going to buy it. Now they can't give it away. It's like $14 a case now in Costco and Walmarts all over the United States. That's how you do it. You don't need the state to intervene with a corporation that's doing evil or just really pathetic and stupid things, period. Then Target, they come out with a clothing line for children about I'm totally gay and I'm bi and I'm this and I'm that. Hey, why? So what happened is conservatives got out there and protested, and it cost them billions of dollars. If you want a company to fail, we, the people, have the right to get on social media and get in front of their stores with signs and protest and demand that people that we know don't go. We can't stop them from going, but demand, like, don't go. All right, please don't spend your money in these establishments. We have that right, and it's working. Bud or Anheuser-Busch, the parent company, good luck to them. All right, so how does that work? Where am I from? Born in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. It was phenomenal in the 80s, but it sucked after 1993. It sucks so hard now that it's a city I never want to see again unless there's a mushroom cloud over top of it. Yes, I mean, again, we'll pray. Dear Lord, please have a Kazakhstani terrorist blow up Toronto with a 50 megaton nuclear device. There we go. I can't stand the place. So I left the province of Ontario and I came to Calgary, Alberta, a city that I like. I like it very much. I hate the politics here. The politics in Calgary are horrendous, but the city itself is beautiful and the people are pretty awesome. They really are friendly. And Vancouver, British Columbia, what do we say about that place? Now, Vancouver is in a very strange place geographically. Yes, it's in Canada. Yes, it's north of the 48th parallel. So it is quite far north compared to most places in the world, but it doesn't get snow. It gets a lot of rain because the warm air is coming off the jet stream off the Pacific Ocean and prevents coldness and snow from forming over top of that city. But because it's on an island, it is just like the traffic is god awful. You cannot drive anywhere there. You really are better off just owning a bicycle if you live in Vancouver to get anywhere you want to go. Because even their light rail transit, they've got an overhead tram that goes through town. It's not really efficient. It doesn't solve any traffic issues at all. Also, Vancouver is mostly Chinese now. And Vancouver, if you look at it from certain angles, the architecture is awful. There's nothing but horrible architecture all over that city. So it actually looks like a sci-fi dystopian communist city. It's not enjoyable at all. There are 3 really cool parts in town where there's buildings that were built back in the 1910s and 19-teens and 1920s and so on. But beyond that, it's a really terrible place to try to get around. Rock 777, goodbye to you. Let's click on your name. All right. Hold on there. I'm not trying to message you. I'm just trying to boot you. There we go. Oh, look at that. You formed a brand new account specifically to come in there and ask me stupid questions. Block, confirm, block. That's one of my detractors. Everybody was asking me what jail is like. So I'll answer it now. The Canadian government has put me in prison for 7 months just because I do podcasting. When you expose a really bad pedophile in Canada, you go to jail. That's how Canada works. You must comply with the Canadian government or you do jail time. That's just how it is. Canadian prisons are a reprehensible, disgusting mess. What you get in Canada, like it's not like the States where you're in jail, but you get about 8 or 9 hours a day out of your cell to exercise, socialize, move around, so on. In Canadian prisons, you stay in your cell between 21 and 23 hours a day. So everybody who goes to a Canadian prison, unfortunately, is essentially in what do you call that? Solitary confinement. That's what they do. You know, they when they locked me up last year for 40 days in the Calgary, they call it the penitentiary. I was the only one there. They had it open specifically to teach me the lesson that I can't talk publicly. I was the only one there, and I was only allowed out of my cell 15 minutes to walk around the courtyard, which was completely fenced in, and another 10 minutes a day to make a phone call. And that's it. That's all you get in Canadian jails. So if anybody's thinking about moving to Canada, I would highly suggest that you don't. Canada is a very, very far left Marxist communist dump where you are not allowed to say anything where you are disagreeing with the government, whether it be local, municipal, and or provincial or federal. Canada is a very dangerous place for anybody who has a conservative viewpoint. Very dangerous. Don't go to Vancouver. Well, I'm not going to tell you not to go to Vancouver. If you haven't seen it, go and check it out. You decide for yourself if cities are good for you. If you want to go to Toronto, the town I hate so much, check it out, see for yourself. Maybe you agree with me, maybe you don't. If you want to see New York or Hong Kong, Beijing, Japan, Dubai, go see it for yourself. I'm not going to tell you not to go places. I'm just going to tell you that if you want to live in Toronto, you're going to be miserable because nobody can afford anything. And in general, the attitude of everybody in that town sucks. Torontonians honestly believe that Toronto is the best city in the world. They believe that they are the center of everything in North America. And I'm telling you, Toronto is a big city. There's about 6 million people in the area, but it's not a world-class city. There's no world-class judges out there that have ever said Toronto was a world-class place. It's just big. That's all that it is, and expensive. What are your feelings on the 2S LGBTQI community? Well, for those of you who've been watching my show for the last 6 years, you'll know that one of my best friends here in Calgary is gay. He calls himself, his name is Rio. He calls himself, this is his designation, not mine. He calls himself the flamingest flamer in Alberta. For those who remember all the stories that I've told you about my youth, I DJ'd in gay clubs from age 18 to 22. So I know gay culture inside and out. And I can tell you that that gay men, they don't want anything to do with the radical LGBTQ community, because the LGBTQs, what they've done is they've taken conservative gay guys who agree with me politically and who are friends of mine politically and just in general, and they say, well, you're part of the problem. You must think the following. The LGBTQs say that you must think there's 72 genders. You must hate white men. You must hate Christians. You must hate the family unit, and you must destroy people's ability to have a strong family unit. That's bizarre thinking. So that particular ideology I can't stand. But, if you're gay, who gives a crap? Really? You can be a friend of mine so long as you're a decent human being. That's what this is all about. I will not hang out with people that are into hardcore drugs. I won't have people in my personal life who are disrespectful, rude, vile, vulgar, violent. I just will not have people like that. So if you are just a decent human being and you're gay, you can be a friend of mine. No problem. Don't give a crap about that. Celebration of lights happening with police with huge AR rifles. Well, North American police, for some reason, we've decided as a society that we should arm them. I think that we should disarm them. Police should not walk around with guns. Give them pepper spray and give the ones that have the right temperament for the job a taser, but the rest should be like in England. No guns. There's no reason to arm our police officers. All they do with that is they get an idea in their head that they can murder us whenever they want, and there will be no punishment for it, which is true in Canada. Cops who kill people in Canada don't do a single day behind bars. That's not right. Remember when Kevin tried to illegally cross the border on foot and got lost? No, I didn't get lost. I knew exactly where I was. I crossed the American border because there's a fatwa on my head. There have been 6 attempts on my life. I have scar tissue on my back, my hand, and my face from all the attacks. It's very difficult to fight off people all of the time. Fortunately, I'm trained in fighting. But you should try it. Try living where the government hates you so much that they actually have paid thugs to assault you. That's what's happened to me. The city of Calgary paid Antifa to steal my signs when I was running for mayor and to assault me and damage my equipment. Nope, I did not ask for help. I didn't want help. Here's the way that it works, everybody. When I say I'd rather be an American or dead. When I say that, that's what I mean. Unfortunately, it was the people that were meeting with me in the United States who panicked. They couldn't find me. All right. What I had done, because the temperature dropped to minus 40 Celsius, I buried myself in the snow. That's what you do when you have survival training. That's what I did. And it was the fact that the people who, and God bless them for it, they were worried about me. But I did say, I want to freeze to death if I cannot be an American. I said that. And I really do want to be an American. It's just how it is, because Canada is no longer a country. People in this country no longer have pride in the country, their towns, their provinces, their communities, themselves. There's nothing left here. It's not a country. But I won't be going down to the United States for at least another 2 years, maybe even 3, because there's a few things here that I want to clear up. I still have work to do in the province of Alberta, which is right now my home. It is a beautiful place. Alberta is a beautiful place. Yes, I'm still in Calgary. Who was it that I exposed? Well, here's the problem. I'd love to tell you, but because Canada is a communist dump, I have court orders on me. There are now 155 people I cannot speak about by name. Think about that. All of those are the ones I exposed. So think about that. And Cinnamon says something clever here. If you attack someone and you do more damage than they do, you go to jail. That's true in Canada. They say you are allowed to use equal force. But what does that mean? So if someone comes at you with a hammer or a knife and you don't have one, but you pick up a brick and you throw it at them so that they can't get the hammer into your skull or the knife into your chest, and they fall over and they hit their heads and start convulsing. Yes, in Canada, you will go to jail even though you were defending yourself. That is how that works. Canada sucks for that. Okay, and the Angry Ginger. Okay, we're going to get rid of you because you're not a very good individual. Block, confirm. Okay, so what did I do? What do you mean? To have a court injunction against me, blocking me from talking about 155 people? I expose them. I'm a journalist. I investigate things. I don't believe anything anybody says until I have checked it out myself. I check multiple sources myself. Just because you say something is true doesn't mean it's true. If the government says it's true, it's absolutely not true. If a police officer says it's true, it is absolutely not true. So I investigate everything and I divulge to the public what I learned. And that is why the Canadian government can't stand me. That is why they have tried to kill me 6 times. All right. Silly time 3. Bye-bye. We're going to get rid of you. Okay, guys. Again, try to keep your commentary just a little bit more adult, if you could, than the people that I am blocking. If we could, please. All right. Okay. So what else do we have here? Going to discuss... there we go. Are you going to discuss how you were threatening healthcare workers? Never threatened anybody. You guys, I leave all my videos up. Go to my name, KevinJJohnston.com. That'll take you to my BitChute channel. There are 5.5 years worth of videos there. And what I had said during my mayor run is that I was going to send SWAT out to arrest everybody who implemented COVID protocols. That was what I said. But the caveat is when I am mayor. The news lied. Everybody lied. Everybody lied about what I said. But what I said is very, very public. And the RCMP, they weren't able to charge me with threats or incitements to a crime because I never threatened anybody. All right. So that whole thing. Do you know what they did? What they did is they just had to make something up. They said, oh, well, he wasn't wearing a mask in a mall. Let's go arrest him. That's all that it was. So it had nothing to do with threats. I don't threaten people. I only make promises. I do not make threats. Oh, yeah, but if I had won the Calgary mayor race, which I did, the elections are rigged, I was going to send SWAT out to arrest everybody who implemented COVID lockdowns. Gone. And I was going to lift them in the city of Calgary. Okay. Is this satire? Nope, it is not satire. Okay. What else do we have? Hateful viewpoints are punished, not respectful ones. That is absolutely not true. It's the haters. The left wing are the haters right now. Anybody who thinks left is a hater. And they are the ones, unfortunately, that control the courts, the police, the education system, and the media. So what they do is they find a guy like me who smiles all the time, telling the truth, and they just create lies and propaganda and so on. and false arrests and so on. So no, I don't hate at all. There's no point. I'm too old for that kind of stuff. When you are someone who's a hateful person, you burn yourself out. Your liver gets gets drained. Your brain gets drained. Your emotions get drained. People who are full of hate and rage don't live past 60. They really don't. I'd like to be here till I'm 200, so I don't hate. Who is the person? I already answered that question. Nothing in this country is going to be repaired after Trudeau is out. Nothing. Because we don't have any strong men running for public office right now in Canada, period. We just do not. So you can expect this country to be an absolute economic disaster for the next decade. Canada really is done. You make Canada sound horrible. It is. The land mass, the country itself is gorgeous. It is a beautiful country. And considering it's the second largest land mass in the world, you have everything. You've got the ocean on the north, east, and west coasts. You've got the 5 Great Lakes in Ontario that culminate so much water that they are like every lake in Minnesota combined. They're huge. They're beautiful. You know, the province of Ontario is actually a beautiful place. You know, there's more trees there than we know what to do with. There's 540 billion trees in this country. The Rocky Mountains, which I live now just an hour east of, and I can be in the Rocky Mountains in less than an hour. They are just stunning. They're awe-inspiring. Imagine driving through mountains that are 12,000 feet tall. Whoa, the country's gorgeous. But the politics and the people who adopt the politics that we have here, they've ruined it. So there's no economic opportunity here anymore. There's no more investment, period. Everything is just too expensive, and it's not going to change anytime soon. So until we can get Canadian politics to be completely dismantled and the court systems completely dismantled and rebuilt into something that actually benefits mankind, this country is going to suck for a very, very long time. Okay. All right. So this John guy, I've already covered the fact I don't threaten people. And because you want to talk like a tool, we're going to have to get rid of you. Block, confirm. Manners, everybody. Manners. All right. I'm not calling you a whole whack of names, so let's not do the name calling thing here. Children watch this show. Families watch my show, which is why I don't swear in my show, which is why I'm not utilizing a whole ton of innuendo and so on. All right. Jan, Kevy, you need new ideas. Well, why are you here? Silly times 3. If you don't like my ideas, you're the one that came here. I did not ask you to come. You came, so you can just buzz off. Right. I should convoy there, or are you too afraid? Convoy where? Sorry, what are you talking about? Not a clue. The Royal Canadian Mounted Police do not have any jurisdiction in the United States of America. So this Get Back Jojo 29, you just came in here and showed the world how silly you are, how dumb you are. All right, bye-bye. Okay. I'm just going to keep going through the questions here. Let me check the email box over here, folks, because I know some people are asking questions in the chat, everyone. All right. So hello from Cornwall. Hello from Toronto. Hello. Whoa, we got people from Dubai in the room right now. Oh, hello to everybody from around the world. Thank you for coming in here. What are your thoughts on, let me put this question up for everybody on Rumble. What are your thoughts on calling our liberals a bunch of Nazi collaborators for funding Ukraine Nazi scum? Okay, let's cover Ukraine quickly here. The Russians are going to win. All right. The Ukraine is so full of corruption and so full of child trafficking that that Putin had to deal with it. Putin does not want Russian children to be killed in any way, shape, or form. He also doesn't want NATO on his border. Why would he want that? Period. So what's gone on here is that Ukraine they've met their match. They've met their Waterloo, as they say. So we have the Russians who have the manpower and the equipment, the technology, and so on, to win this thing. But as Trump said, I would rather people stop dying because we could use more Europeans in the world. There's nothing wrong with having more white people in the world. White people are less than 11% of the entire world's population. So what are we killing each other for? You can knock this nonsense off. But yes, the entire of Zelensky's cabinet, they are as Nazi-like as can possibly be. And Putin, he's an ass. But you have to be an ass. You've got to be tough and strong. You have to be crooked to be the leader of any country, right? There's no country in the world that doesn't have a leader who's done illegal things to get there. The system is rigged so that if you do obey every single law and rule, you're not going to get anywhere. Too bad. Well, he's going to win. The Russians are going to win, and I'm certainly cheering for Russia on this. If someone has to win, I'd rather it be them, and I'd rather NATO, which we are a part of, back off. We don't need Ukraine to be part of NATO, period. Let's not have any more wars than we need. Let the Ukraine just lose this war and let them figure it out for themselves, period. Question from Hesham. What are your thoughts on the cabinet shuffle of the Liberal government of Canada recently did, as some ministers said they won't run for re-election? Okay, so in the Canadian Parliament, which works very similar to British Parliament, we have cabinet ministers that are assigned essentially by the Prime Minister, which is jihadi Justin Trudeau. He is shuffling his cabinet so that the people that were in positions when this COVID nonsense was on, they can't get arrested, right? That's what he's trying to do. He's trying to get them from being arrested should the Conservatives win and should the Conservatives want to charge them all. The people who are not running for re-election, they're going to take all the money that they've stolen from we the people and they're going to disappear. They'll go to South America like the Nazis did. They will go to Europe. They will go to some of the better African places like Ghana. They will just not be in this country anymore so they cannot be prosecuted. That's what's going on there, Hesham. This is a way of all of them escaping liability for the last 4 years of a lot of people dying because of their policies, period. All right, I'm just going to go through some more of the questions here, and then I'll go back to TikTok questions. Okay. Oh, and Chris, thank you very much for watching the Twitch and the D Live room. Yeah, anybody who speaks like Antifa, just get rid of them. Like we don't Antifa. Come on, guys. Like, you're done. Nobody cares about you anymore. Nobody cares about you anymore. And if someone out there has Ed's phone number, call him and ask him to stop calling me, please. I'm on a live on my phone on TikTok. Ed, if you're watching, stop calling. Okay. Legit question. Why don't you move to the United States of America? At some point, 2 years or 3 years from now or more, I will. But not just yet. Any comments on schools in British Columbia about Soji? 1, 2, 3. Okay, everyone. I'm getting together with a man that was on my show 2 months ago talking about this. We're going to be releasing a book about this, about Soji and how dangerous it is. My commentary is, if you have children in any Catholic school that is publicly funded in Canada or any public school publicly funded in Canada, get your kids out of those schools now. Period. All right? That's just how it is. Do not send your kids to these schools. That's what you do, because there's no other way to word this. The teachers and the powers that be and everyone who influences the teachers want to have sex with your children or condition them to have sex with them when they get a bit older. Forget it. Get them out. It's a horrible, horrible idea in any way whatsoever. Okay? No, John. See, again, John, you got everything wrong. I wasn't facing arrest for crimes at all. I have a fatwa on my head for death, and there were 6 attempts made on my life. The last one, December 23rd of last year. And John, you know nothing about bravery at all, period. Quite frankly, I'm very good at defending myself. Remember Antifa? 46 members of Antifa tried to kill me in 2017 in Ottawa, and I fought them off successfully as well. John, you have no idea. You are the typical keyboard warrior. You wouldn't talk like this to my face or any other man's face for that matter. So let's just get you out of here, shall we? We don't need your ilk in this room. Block and confirm. Okay. And there's some, look at this. Wow, you guys just keep making brand new accounts so you can make commentary. That's just not true and rude. Stop being rude. If you're rude, I block. Okay, stop it. Just all of you, stop it. I've got 15 more minutes before I have to leave. All right, so there we go. I'm going to go through more. Did I get the jab? Are you out of your mind? Are you really? No. All right. I did my research into this immediately. mRNA, sorry. I'm not putting that in my body. I'm not putting another genetic line. I'm not putting different genetic code, different DNA or ribonucleic acid in my body. God, no. Period. And as I've been saying, I am a single guy, and I'm telling you, ladies out there, if you want to date this amazing, gorgeous guy right here, right now, if you've had that thing, don't even bother calling me. I am not interested in that. A couple of reasons why. Number one is you're going to die, like just long before me. Let's say our relationship does work out. You'll be dead between 3 and 10 years from now. I don't want to sink energy and emotional energy and money and time into someone who's going to be dead well before their time. All right. Because I plan to be around till I'm 90 something. All right. Next, it means that you're able to fall for propaganda. If you watch the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation, or if you watch CNN and BBC and do what they say, you are somebody who has excessively bad judgment. So no, that would mean that you would fight me on absolutely everything that I want to do that would be right for me and my loved ones. God, no. I don't even like the idea that you are someone that would watch that crap in the first place. Period. So no, absolutely not. Okay, so you talk about being respectful of people's beliefs, yet thought it necessary to arrest people who what? I'm not a police officer. Who did I arrest? What are you talking about? All right. You working on a pardon from Daniel Smith like Archer tried? No, I don't even talk to Daniel Smith. Why would I bother with that? Period. What do you think of Jordan Peterson? Well, I think the man, like many men before him, is way ahead of his time. I think he's about 25 years ahead of his time. I think that he's hated so much because he's the most articulate man in the country, me being the second most. So I can relate to him from the standpoint of the persecution he has to endure. He's very clever. Most of what he says is correct. I don't agree with everything, but I don't have to. Jordan Peterson would be, I would call him a national treasure. I would. And he should be honored and respected a whole lot more than he does. Cora's asking me here in the Rumble room, what are your thoughts on Daniel Smith? Daniel Smith is doing exactly what Jason Kenney did before her as the Premier of Alberta. She is on our side, quote unquote, quotation marks. And we're going to have another 6 to 8 months of peace. She's not going to do much to hurt us on the conservative side. But when the World Economic Forum comes calling, she'll cave. He did. Jason Kenney did. He told us to avoid them at all costs and how evil they were. And then he caved in. So it'll be the same thing. And yeah, okay, folks, I know some of you are on Facebook, some in Rumble, some on Twitch, some on DLive, and some up here on the phone on TikTok. All right. So if I get it wrong, forgive me. How about strong women working in politics? There are no strong women working in politics in Canada right now. Not a one. There are really bitchy women. There are women with rotten attitudes. There are women with the wrong idea on what life is. And I know, because that's what I do for a living. I interview these people. I research them. I can tell you that right now. If we had a real strong woman, something like Queen Isabella, who took back her country from invaders, like just read your history. That is the kind of woman that we want. Or Queen Victoria, who managed to keep her country out of war for her entire reign by not marrying the first loser that came along to destroy her authority, her power. There are very strong women in our history, but currently in Canada, there's not a single solitary one. I wish that there was, period. All right, next. Then go live in Russia and come back and tell us how bad Canada really is. If you're buying the plane ticket, I'll go. All right. What are your thoughts on Pierre Poilievre? I covered that at the beginning of this. So you'll have to watch the replay, which you can catch on Rumble. Just type in freedomreport.ca and you can watch this video when it's up. Oh, look at this. Deaf Ear says, hopefully you'll be back behind bars soon. Why? Tell us why. I'm going to block you after you tell us why, but why do you think that a middle-aged white guy with gray hair who just does a really good job of reporting on news around the country should be behind bars for talking? Why? Go ahead. Oh, and here's another one. When did you get out of jail? March 12th of last year? Where have you been? Like, your news is really out of date. So Murphy girl, you should get up on things, all right? Before you come over here and tell the world how stupid you are by asking stupid questions like that. That's a year and a half ago. Where have you been? And I was in there for what reason? Right? Because I talk, because I'm a good reporter, because I embarrass some politicians. All right. Keep going from the questions here. Yes, I still live in Calgary, Chrissy. Lee Chrissy. Oh, and deaf ears. Hopefully you'll get arrested soon. So you didn't do what I said, which was to come forward with a proper argument. So goodbye to you. All right. Okay, I've got a few. Wow, 37 new questions have popped in here. No, I don't do conspiracy theories, Big Gutto or whatever your name is. Okay. Someone telling me that this guy is insane and ignorant. The court ordered me to get a psychological analysis done. The guy came back saying that I'm quite sane. Thank you very much. In fact, the report that came back was offered to the courts, and the courts chose not to use it as evidence against me. Right? What they said was my intelligence quotient was incredibly high, and they said my vocabulary was incredibly high, and that my life philosophies were quite positive. So, no, and I'm not ignorant. You probably are using that word to mean rude. Ignorant does not mean rude. Everyone thinks that it does. Ignorant means that you are unknowing, that you have a lack of knowledge on a particular subject, which if you're talking about me, you are very ignorant. Okay. Antifa is an ideal, not a group. No, it's a terrorist organization with bad idealism. That's what they are. They are terrorists, but they're not very good at it. Right? That like breaking windows, like real terrorists around the world are able to actually take their targets out. Antifa, they couldn't even 46 of them. Right, attacking me at the same time. The best that they could do was bruise me and give me a little bit of broken cartilage in my ear. They couldn't kill me. So they're not very good terrorists, but they are terrorists. Don't understand that question. Murphy girl, please go now. Are you talking to me, Murphy girl? Just say yes or no, please. So you're pro-crime and pro-racism. Who said that? I'm absolutely dead set against crime. Where do you get these ideas from? All right. Where do you people get these ideas from? No, I'm not pro-crime at all. I would like to see the criminals that run our government, who are criminals, I'd like to see them prosecuted for what they do. I really would. I'd like to see crooked judges who are putting Christians in jail for no reason in Canada. I'd like to see them go to jail. Like, that's a crime. That's absolutely an abuse of power. It is, what's that one called? Malicious prosecution. I think that one's punishable by 5 years in prison. And I'm dead set against crime in general. I don't take people's stuff because that's a crime. I don't hit people because that's a crime. I don't drive a car fast because even though that's not really a crime, the government says that it is, and they'll take your money if you do so. So no. And as for racism, again, because the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation calls me racist, doesn't mean it's true. What you should do is, if I have said anything racist, find the racist statement that I've made and call it to our attention. Show me once where I've said anything racist, period. And Blitznack, I thought you were in jail. Well, obviously not. So we're going to get rid of you because we don't need that kind of stupidity here. Block, confirm, and gone. And then we have this Murphy girl repeating herself. When did you get out of jail? That's what it sounds like, right? So we're going to block you too because you bring nothing to the table of any value. Goodbye. All right. So we're starting to sift through the dummies here, everybody. And again, Chris, thank you for policing that nonsense on the other platforms. All right. This guy's pile is higher than Trump. Then Trump? No, you mean than. THAN, than Trump, with his lies and hate. Again, what lie have I told today? All right, go on. What hate have I spewed? I'm smiling when I talk. There's no hate here. Murphy girl, I thought we blocked you. Okay. And Squirrel is saying, like, specifically, how is he pro-crime? Yeah, like, give us an example. If you're saying I'm pro-crime, give me an example once where I encourage somebody to break the law. You're not going to find that. Period. Antifa, I'm Canada. Wow, prove it. Well, Antifa is in Canada. Actually, their leader of the Alberta leader of Antifa just got convicted for sexual assault. So she'll be going to prison for maybe 30 days. Bye-bye. Okay. You mentioned Catholic schools with public curriculum to move kids. How about PSIC? I haven't read that one yet, so I can't make a comment on that, but I'm still going to stick to my guns, everybody, and state that if your children are in public school or publicly funded Catholic schools in Canada, please take them out. All right. Just don't let them go near this radical indoctrination. Okay. Going through. I thought we blocked Murphy Girl. We'll try that one again. Yeah, see, Murphy Girl created an account specifically to come in here and throw insults. Block. Good. Okay. So I think Murphy Girl created something like 3 or 4 accounts to be able to come in here and insult me. Isn't that hilarious? Yeah. All right. Going through some more of the questions up here. All right. So now people are arguing back and forth. Try not to argue in the room, everybody. Try to debate. Okay. Let's keep everything cool as much as we possibly can. David Morgan. This is not a question, but a statement. You're awesome, Kevin. Since the first time reading your bang on books, complete truth. Well, thank you, David. I appreciate that. For those who are watching on TikTok who may not know who I am, go to my website, KevinJJohnston, JOHNSTON.me, and grab a free copy of my book, Masks Are BS, where I debunked everything back in the day. If you use the coupon code KJJ Instagram 1 or KJJ Instagram 2, you get the book absolutely free of charge. Okay. How is Murphy Girl still getting in? Manage? Block. She keeps creating accounts. This is crazy. Okay. So someone here is calling me Kevin the racist. Can you quote any racist statements that I've made? And the answer is, of course. Abdurrahman 3474 is asking me, didn't you run for mayor of Mississauga? Yes, 2014, I placed 11th. In 2018, I ran again. I placed 2nd. I got more votes than the 12 candidates below me combined. So yes, I did do that, period. Sweetie Jules, she says that she was raised Catholic in Catholic school and is Christian now. I went to Catholic school. I'm Catholic. But the Catholic Church has become little more than a political entity, and Catholic schools are indoctrination centers now. So unfortunately, Catholicism is now just politics and LGBTQ nonsense. It is no longer a church. And if I get excommunicated by the Pope, I couldn't care less. What are your thoughts on Olivia Chow winning mayor of Toronto over top of Chris Sky? Olivia Chow is one of these weak women that we've talked about before. She has absolutely no skills of any kind, no social skills, no public speaking skills, no political skills at all. She was selected to win that race. That is why she had millions of dollars hammered into her case. She is someone that gained notoriety only because she was the non-white wife of Jack Layton, who was at one time the head of the New Democratic Party. That's it. That's her only claim to fame. She married into this position. She is going to destroy what little is left of Toronto. That's where I was born. I used to love it. Now I hate it. Good luck, Toronto. If you have a house inside of Toronto city limits, sell it and get the hell out. Like, just leave. Go somewhere else. All right. Let's see here. A couple more questions. There was one that just passed by. Okay, so Matches Malone 8, we're going to get rid of you because you're just being a fool. Again, guys, see, he just created a brand. Look at that. Like, no likes, no nothing. Created an account specifically to come in here. Bye-bye. Okay, I got to say this. Does my existence bother you that much? Like, most of the people that come in here and insult me are about half my age. So thinking back when I was 25, I didn't care what anybody who was 50 years old was doing. But you guys do. You 25-year-olds, you know what you should be focused on? Going to the gym, improving yourself, reading books, getting laid, like really having relationships with partners of the opposite sex and doing fun things with them, building a life with them, maybe, exploring what a relationship could possibly be, exploring what friendships can possibly be, maybe going out and exploring the world. You should be doing that. You shouldn't be coming into my TikTok room to insult me. 25. I'm thinking, do you know what I was doing at 25? I was living in the United States. I was working for Hewlett Packard as the district marketing manager for the East Coast of the USA. And in that time, I started off at about $85,000 a year. I eventually got to $109,000 a year. And I was in a different city every week training Hewlett Packard staff on how to properly sell the products and so on. That's what I was doing at 25. If someone was 50 years of age and if they were not somebody that I worked with, I couldn't have cared less what they had to say. Why would I? I was busy doing my job 80 hours a week or more. Which would mean that folks now who are in their 20s and their teens coming in here to insult me, you have a serious lack of motivation to do something good for yourselves. I don't care that you insult me. I get off on insults, especially the angrier it is, the more I love your insults. But this is me now preaching to you. You should not be in my chat rooms insulting me when you could be building a life for yourself. The reason that you care so much about what I say is that you know that I've lived an incredibly busy, fruitful life. You know that. So what I have to say interferes with your particular worldview because you know that my worldview is correct based on the number of countries I've been to, the number of cities I've lived in, and the hundreds of thousands of people I've come across in my time, the thousands of books that I have read, the thousands of videos that I have made based on truths that I know. It bothers you that you can't countermand me in any way in debate. So you come in my rooms and insult me. Fine. I'm just encouraging you. Please try something different. You might be a happier guy or gal. Oh, here we go. Ew, why isn't he still in jail? Because I don't break the law. That's why. Okay. Keep going. Thoughts on LGBTQ? I answered that earlier in the show. So if you go to Rumble, freedomreport.ca is how you get to it. You can watch the replay there and you'll see the answer that I gave on that. Who is the leader of Antifa? Can't name her. Black chick, 6 feet tall, forked tongue, rotten attitude, horrible disposition. Look her up for yourself. And she's based in Calgary, specifically Killarney part of Calgary. That's where you'll find her. She has an office in Killarney. May I ask, how come you're Catholic? Oh, because my parents had me baptized in the Catholic Church in 1974. That's why. And I never left. But, I would rather just get kicked out, honestly, because the Catholic Church does not speak for everybody, period. And this Pope that we have is the worst of the worst. Okay. Yeah, there you go. So now is everything interesting? They have no life. That's why they do it. Sheep do that kind of thing. I agree. People that come to this show and ask good questions, they may not like me, but at least they're asking good questions because they would rather learn something or maybe try to find a way to defeat me with an opinion that may actually be better than mine. And I encourage that. If you can outfox me in thought, I want to talk to you. I like losing. You know why? Because you learn from a loss more so than you ever learn from a victory. Period. Sweet Jules, you want my opinions? Well, I'll be doing a lot more lives, Sweet Jules. If you wanted to, just go to my personal website, KevinJJohnston.me. It's in my profile at the top of TikTok here. Use the contact form, ask questions, and I will address people's questions in another live in the future. And this one-shot resolver, putting clown faces up with 0 followers and so on means you're here to just be a disturber. So you're gone. All right. She says, that's true. I was baptized and did everything to become a Catholic, but I'm sure am Christian now. I assume that means you left Catholicism and went to a different branch. Nancy. Oh, yeah, Nancy. If this is the Nancy I'm thinking of, yeah, you are a very clever gal. Cute, too. Next. All right. Kevin, is being a moron a requirement to join Antifa? I think being lost is a requirement. I think being angry at the world is a requirement. I think having far left views is a requirement. I think being a social outcast is also a requirement. A lot of these guys and some of the girls who join Antifa, they are social outcasts. They don't really understand the reality of life. They don't have a work ethic. They probably didn't have a good home life. So for that, I feel sorry for them. But I don't feel sorry for them when they go out, put on masks, and hurt people. For that, they are terrorists. So who cares at that particular point? Okay. Okay, so Kevin, who would you want to ask you a question? Who would I want to ask me a question? The previous premier of the province of Alberta, Jason Kenney, mainly because he is as gutless as they come. So I'd like to hear what kind of a question a coward like him would have to ask. I truly, truly would. I just want to see here. I don't know, people. Is Rumble on? I hope so. Yeah, Rumble's on, everybody. Yeah, Rumble's on. So is D Live, and so is Twitch. We're good to go. I tell you what. Oh, sweet Jules, me and my boyfriend will be moving to Alberta. Careful what city you pick. Don't go to Edmonton. Edmonton sucks. The difference between Calgary and Edmonton is night and day. Calgary is a steak dinner, and Edmonton is a rotten piece of fruit in a pile of dog feces. They are such different cities that I don't even go to Edmonton anymore. I don't like the place. I truly, truly don't. Can you please say one thing you like about the liberal ideology? Here's the only thing I can say about it, is that if you're watching me today, I would have been considered a member of the Liberal Party. I would have been considered a liberal in 1988. So that, I guess, is the only positive thing I can say. That's how much liberalism has changed. Think about that. Kevin doesn't like Edmonton because when he tries his BS, we put him in his place. No, you don't. Who? Antifa swore at me. They gave me the finger. But that's about it. I just don't like the layout of the city. I don't like the lack of economy in the city. I don't like the way the city looks or smells. It's way too spread out. It's not well thought through. Okay, everyone, I have to go as I have a doctor's appointment that I have to get to. So I want to thank everybody in TikTok for being here. Certainly do appreciate that. So we got TikTok on the phone, and we got the rest of you over here on Facebook, Twitch, D Live, and Rumble. If you have questions, I'm going to start making this a regular thing. And when we figure out what time of the day is best for everybody, we'll start doing that as often as we possibly can. I love you all for being here. So let me just say goodbye to TikTok. Bye-bye, everybody in TikTok. I'll be back. We'll see you soon. All right, so that's TikTok out. And for the rest of you who decided to join me at an unscheduled time, thank you all for being here. And we, again, see you soon. And remember, I love you all.